I was on a listing presentation recently and the home seller asked me about getting a pre-listing home inspection, and I gave them the pros and cons, but here's my overall thoughts about them. I'm Leonard Thomas, founder and trainer at Lead Smash Training, and I have been selling homes for over 30 years, almost 1,500 transactions, and I can tell you I am not a fan of the pre-listing inspection, and let me tell you why. Yes, it may eliminate surprises that can come up during the escrow, but I think it can actually cost the sellers thousands and thousands and probably tens of thousands of dollars, and I'll tell you why. If a home seller does a pre-listing inspection, everything they find out on that inspection, they have one of two choices. Either they fix it or they disclose it. And in my experience, the more items on a disclosure notice that the seller marks as not working or deficient, the less interested my buyers are, the less money my buyers want to pay for the home. Because when we talk about making an offer on a home that has a number of deficiencies on the disclosure notice, they're always saying, yes, but I'm going to have to fix this, or they're going to say, if I buy the home, the seller has to fix that. So what I think a home seller is doing is really setting themselves up for failure. They may not know that the AC is leaking into the secondary condensate drain. They may not know that there is a space around a vent stack up in the attic that should be sealed. But if they start marking all of these items as deficient on a disclosure notice, then they're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. But I also think it's going to start scaring a certain part of the buyer population away. The alternative is they start fixing these things. But here's the thing. If they spend, let's say, $5,000 fixing things that they find on a pre-listing inspection, do you know how much of that $5,000 they're going to get back in a higher sales price? Zero. So they've spent the $5,000 and they've got nothing to show for it except less surprises during the escrow period. Now here's the alternative. Don't do the pre-listing inspection. Get the home under contract. Buyer does the inspection. Both the buyer and seller discover a lot of things that don't work with the property, and now there's a negotiation about the repairs. But here's the difference. The buyer has paid an option fee, which is $300 or $400 at the beginning. The buyer has paid for an inspection. Depending on the size house, that could be $700 or $800. The buyer has paid their lender, if it's not an all-cash transaction, $600 or $700 for the appraisal and the credit report. So at the time that the inspection has been done and the buyer and the seller are negotiating repairs, the buyer, if the house is already under contract, the buyer has already spent $1,500 or $2,000. And in my experience, that buyer is going to be a little bit more negotiable about what gets done repair-wise because they're already $1,500 into the process. They've already started a loan application on that home. They have already told people, friends, relatives, they've already posted on social media, we're under contract for a home. So they are pot committed to the process. And I'm not saying they're going to take the home no matter what, but what I am saying is once the buyer is under contract, they're a lot more flexible to what they accept in the condition of the property than prior to. So again, in my experience, it is better not to do the pre-listing inspection. Yes, you may have some surprises during the escrow period, but it's better to have the surprises during the escrow period than to disclose or have to pay earlier. For more negotiation techniques from someone that's represented hundreds and hundreds of sellers over the last 3 decades, like and follow for more information.